Welcome back to DES Trucks. In today's video, we are going to be doing a long-term review on our 23 F450 Lariat. This truck has a high output. If you follow the channel, then you know we've done plenty of things to this truck. The snow plow install, the salt spreader installs, all different kinds of stuff. So tune into the channel if you want to see everything we've done to the truck. But this is going to be like a longer term review. 22,000 miles on the truck, just over 1 year of ownership, and pretty much how has everything been. So everything for the most part has been good. Very few complaints, if any. The high output engine has been good, although it's not that much of a difference. I wouldn't say go out there and get the high output because it's gonna blow your mind, but it probably does feel like it puts down a little bit more power than the old standard output that was outgoing from the other model. Now, maybe apples to apples, if you're comparing 223 plus Super Duties with the same gearing and everything, high output versus standard output, maybe you can feel a bigger difference because they have a possibly more restrictive emission system for the 23 and later trucks. But going from a 20 to a 23 to the high output from the standard output, I don't know, it's not a game changer type of more power, but it does seem maybe just a little bit more powerful. It definitely sounds different going from a 20 to a 23. The emissions seems to be more restrictive, and it muffles the engine noise a little bit more. But I would be willing to bet that if this truck was deleted, then it could potentially show the true colors or the true power of the high output. And also keep in mind the 450 with the gearing being the way that these trucks are geared at 430 gear ratio, so you really don't feel the low end torque quite as much with that particular gear ratio that you would feel it with maybe a 3.31 or a 3.55. You would feel more low end torque and power. So if you're in a 450 and you're kind of on the fence, I think either engine, standard output or high output, is just fine in the case of a 450, at least because the gearing is just so geared toward towing. It doesn't matter. And on the topic of towing, with this truck, we've really thrown some heavy duty towing at it, whether it's towing skid steer, towing concrete blocks, 16,000 pounds, sometimes towing concrete. We've been quite a bit over that weight, and I can really tell because like concrete's so heavy, even on a 16-foot trailer, where we've probably been at like 20 plus thousand pounds, maybe even 30,000 pounds. I didn't weigh it, but knowing how the brakes were feeling, like you can really start to feel the weight push you. But when you're in that 16,000 pound range, this is like known amount of weight is like the 16,000 pound range, it doesn't feel like the truck is pushing, the weight is pushing the truck. And even, the 450, one of the things about this truck is they give you very oversized brakes with this platform. They give you larger brakes in the front and in the rear. The rear carries the same size brake pad. In fact, it's the same part. The pads are interchangeable with the front and the rear. Typically, when you see a vehicle, truck, car, whatever, you typically see a smaller brake pad in the rear than you do in the front. So what that meant for me is when we had a situation in the snow, we had to get a machine to a site, and sure enough, right in the middle of the storm, in the middle of the night, the trailer brakes were not working. And I'm like, well, I don't know if I can tow freaking 16,000 with no trailer brakes. So it was kind of an emergency situation where this machine had to get to the site under the contract, and I had no other way of doing it. And I went out to the road and kind of like a side street and kind of tested the brakes, and the truck was able to stop the weight no problem. So I attribute it to just the oversized brakes. Now you do feel it pushing when the weight gets to like that 30,000 pound range. Then yeah, the brakes, you got to be careful how you drive with that kind of weight. But let's take a quick look. 22,000 miles on a truck, plowing snow, a lot of people talk about the corrosion. So when you get real close on the bumper, you can see that there are some little micro rust spots on the chrome that can be removed with a chemical. But a lot of people have kind of freaked out about that. Like, all of these $100,000 trucks are rusting. Well, yeah, I mean, the chrome gets that surface rust. Let's look at our hitch that went through the whole entire winter, and you can see even that's an aluminum hitch, and it's starting to show its corrosion just from being in the environment that we were in. So let's pop underneath. Let's take a look here. You can see a little bit of corrosion there on our diff cover. Looking up at our tire, I should probably take this thing down and put some oil or something on it. Maybe I'll take this off and put it on the front steer, because as these tires wear, the front tires wear out quite a bit faster than the rear, and you can't really do much about it. But look at that diff. That's the aluminum diff. I should probably have taken a little more care of protecting that and making it look nice, but I haven't done much. As far as undercoating and all that, all I do is just rinse the truck off in between snowstorms, and I know I could do better, but I just don't do as much as I can to protect from rust. Let's take a look here at the bed. And one of the things that this truck does have is the Pro Power, and I use that on jobs quite a bit for charging batteries. But I will say, not as much power as I want. It's a 2 kilowatt, and with Ford and them calling this stuff a 2 kilowatt, I think it's a little light on its power. So you look at it and you can see you get 2 nice plugs. It will charge your batteries, your Milwaukee batteries. It ain't gonna run big saws. It's not gonna do that. It's not gonna run a carpentry site or anything like that. But although a power boost truck would. So cool feature, but you can build a better inverter system. If you had a dual alternator on one of these trucks, you could probably run 3,000 watt power inverter. So let's take a look at the interior. This is one of my favorites. Oh, look, the kids are in here playing. Are you guys being good?
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the interior. As you can see, the seat is fully reclined. Okay, hey, quiet, I'm filming.
We're going to Wally.
Okay, be quiet, we can talk after. So as you can see here, the seat is all the way back. This is not a max recline truck. This is just a normal seat. In fact, it's not even Lariat Ultimate or anything. It doesn't have any of the fancy stuff in the seat. Basic Lariat seat. So while this truck is a $86,000 truck, a lot of the features are... Oh, we have a test model. Can you sit there so you can see how the seat works? If you look at this seat right now, you can see that you can totally sleep in this truck, even though it doesn't have the max recline. So I don't think that's a feature that you should like make or break your purchase with max reclining, because the seat does do enough. And this, in my opinion, has been the most comfortable seat. And as a person that will sit in the truck for very long periods of time, 30 hours straight, this seat has been the best seat that I've ever sat in for very long hours. It's not the massaging seat. It doesn't have platinum. It doesn't have limited or anything. Not a max recline, not a Lariat Ultimate, just a regular base entry level leather seat. Has been the best seat that I've ever sat in for a long road trip or for a 30-40 hour stint straight in the truck. And switching seats, like I'll spend 40 hours working straight. I'll switch over to that side, sleep for a little while. Another guy will plow. And yeah, it's just been a great truck. And the guys who work with me love working out of this truck. They've just, they're like, let me take the big one. So that was something that I did this year, is let the guys run it. So when you turn on the key, you can see the digital cluster, if it'll let me. Let's see. You can see the digital cluster in there in all its glory. Very nice setup. I don't know if I'm doing it right. We got our twin panel moonroof. I love that feature. The kids love the twin panel as well. And this is just our base level, entry level The Lariat Ultimate package was a lot of money, and I just kind of stripped it out so that I stripped it down the build. I stripped the build down so that the truck would be more affordable. So, 86,000 versus, getting a truck to 90 plus. To me, was a smart move. And what I omitted was the cruising, the adaptive cruising, and all that stuff, which we're plowing snow and we're hauling. Stop honking the horn, please. Hey, don't do that. I'm filming. So all that stuff just adds so much cost, and we're plowing snow, so it doesn't really need to be on there. Hey, I'm filming. Okay. So the interior for me has been one of the biggest pros. The big screen, the Android Auto has been really good. The big maps and all that good stuff has been great. As you can see over here, you got your Pro Power button, or your tailgate button to lower your tailgate, your Pro Power button. And you've also got let's see if it'll lower that tailgate for me now. Yep. So you've also got your, be careful with that. I don't need you breaking nothing. You've also got the Pro Power in the back, and it's useful how it has that button. So being that I can build a much more powerful onboard power system with inverters and stuff, pure sine wave inverters, some heavy gauge wire, I can't get to the point where the integration is so good with the truck. Like, we were on the job site and I needed some Milwaukee batteries charged because we trim shrubs with Milwaukee batteries, believe it or not, and I needed to charge these batteries. So I started the truck and I pressed this button back here, and it immediately turned on the generator mode, which was nice. I do just wish it had more power. For example, I don't know. So 2,000 kilowatts max. I think they really need to get this dialed in better with better inverters, because I think a 2,000 kilowatt would be good, but if it had a 4,000 surge, and I think they use a 2,000 surge, so they kind of fudge the numbers a little, where if I bought a 3,000 watt pure sine wave inverter, it typically has like a 6,000 surge, and it can really push some power. But I don't know if they give you that level of power on the truck. But the integration is really good, and it does work for charging up a lot of batteries. But overall, I do wish it could be better. But I'm happy that we made it through this winter with no major casualties. I mean, just minor little scrapes from guys. I think one guy one day just stood on this freaking fender. I'm like, dude, that is not a step. He was like standing on this. I'm like, oh my goodness. And we just go out in the storms, we plow, and we just pray that the truck don't get jacked. So over here in the engine, I think we could pull the dipstick out and see, the oil. I do know this truck uses oil when we're plowing snow. It uses quite a bit of oil. But other than that, it doesn't really use too much oil. You can see it on the stick there. I don't have anything to wipe it off to check it with. But yeah, it's been pretty low maintenance. Sorry, just changing the oil, the fuel filters a couple of times in at 20,000 miles. The one major complaint, though, is when plowing snow, the oil life monitor will go off on me every single day. Like, every day you go out and plow snow, it's like, oh, you just burned through all your oil life. You just burned through all your oil life. And the weird thing about it is this truck is so connected to the internet, to the system, to the hive over at Ford. And I wonder what it's doing to my warranty if I were to ever have an issue, that it runs through its oil life every single day if you're working it, if you're plowing snow with it. So if it runs through this oil life every day, then you'd have to lie and reset it. Because to be completely honest, I didn't change the oil every day. I just had to reset the oil light. And all that data is being sent directly over to Ford through the full Ford Pass and everything. My phone's going off. It's telling me, hey, your truck needs an oil change. It has to be done today. So I wonder if my warranty is even any good, because according to Ford and their weird system, that is tracking the vehicle and monitoring the vehicle and knows everything about what you're doing with the vehicle, does it know that the oil was kind of stretched? Or based on just the oil life monitor, it freaked out quite a few nights where we were plowing snow. But anyway, this is, I guess, my 20,000 mile plus review. I think the truck's got 22K on it. The emission system has been fine. I know that was a scary point for a lot of us. The regens have been fine. Great. No issues with that. No derating while plowing snow. It's a big fear. It's like, is the truck going to derate itself? Or is it going to have issues because it's plowing snow and it's a diesel? Is it going to have emissions problems because you're plowing snow? Not at all, guys. Not at all did we have any problems plowing snow with the diesel. Except for the oil life was not happy and the oil consumption was not happy. That was really the only thing that we had going on with the diesel. So oil consumption while pushing was high and the oil life monitor was going crazy. But the emissions part of it was just fine as far as plowing snow goes. And we would run the engine for 24 plus hours straight at a time. Sometimes we'd shut it off just for a minute and then start it right back up. But everything held up good through some pretty treacherous events as far as snow. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. My name is Sean. This is DS Trucks. 22 plus thousand miles. Truck's running good. See you guys in the next one. Over and out.